me bring Honorable Sam George in, because I remember that at the vetting of the roads minister, he was very explicit. He said that if he's approved, one of the things that he's looking forward to is actually increasing road tolls. Because he said that we need to generate a lot more. If people are complaining about bad roads, then it means that we have to tax people a lot more along our road, our toll booths, so that we can generate enough money to fix our roads. Now there's this U-turn, and he suddenly suspends it as well. And there's this hula baloo. What do you make of this?
Bella, good morning, and good morning to your panelists. The Honorable Kwesi Amakwata is a senior member of Parliament and a very senior lawyer in this country. Let's put on record that even when the letter was issued, he was out of the jurisdiction. Both letters, when both letters were issued, he was out of the jurisdiction. That does not stop him from issuing those letters, however. However, my information points to the fact that those, especially the second letter, which sought to explain what will be an indiscretion on the part of the minister, may have generated from some other source, not even the ministry itself.
You don't think so?
Absolutely. When you look at the two letterheads, it explains it to you. And clearly, everybody who followed parliamentary proceedings yesterday knows where it generated from.
Where is this generated from? Because
the majority
it says
leader.
Public Affairs Unit.
The majority leader is the one who put out this fable, this tale, and has sought to get it issued on the letterhead of the ministry.
You have evidence? You have evidence that this is from the majority leader?
If you let me land, listen to me clearly. I said, anybody who followed the proceedings of Parliament heard what the majority leader said. Now read that release, which is on a different letterhead from the ministry's letterhead that was issued by the minister. That seeks to give credence to that fable, that tale, that fib that was told by the majority leader and Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, or say Chairman Sambosu, in Parliament. Look, let's be clear. At first, I felt the imposition of taxes and the removal of same executive administrative rights. It is the right of a minister to say, policy direction says we're imposing a tax. It is the right of that minister to as well say, in consultation with my appointing authority, we are taking off the tax. That is the preserve of the executive. And so at first I felt, well, this was an administrative decision taken. Then my attention was drawn to the fact that on the issue of tolls, road tolls, we're not taking road tolls in this country on the back of a policy directive. We are taking road tolls in this country on the back of an act of Parliament.
Yeah.
And that shifts the conversation. So it then moves it away from the ambit. So those who are taking on Mr. Speaker are doing it from a position of ignorance. Gross ignorance. Because you cannot then use executive policy decisions to amend an act of Parliament. Because there is an NRCD decree as amended in 1999 by the second Parliament. The Road Toll Amendment Act of 1999. It is that act that governs the collection of tolls on our roads in this country. Now, it is again Parliament's prerogative to approve the fees and charges under the Fees and Charges Act. So, this conversation, people must understand. And you see, my initial position was born out from my area of focus, communications. Where the minister could wake up and say, I am imposing a TV license. He didn't have to come to Parliament. When there was a kickback against, the minister woke up and said, I am withdrawing it. He didn't have to come to Parliament because there is no legislation legislating the collection of that, of same. But in the case of road tolls, it is not an executive decision. It is not a policy decision. It is an act of Parliament. And you cannot use a policy directive to vary an act of Parliament. The only way to go about it is to bring a bill to Parliament, and it could have come under a certificate of emergency of urgency on the same Thursday the bill was read. He could have brought it. It would be a one-liner that would simply say Parliament is abolishing the Road Toll Amendment Act of 1999. You understand me? And that would then vest in him the power to do operationalization. Because you see, this horrid tale of chaos, first and foremost. You know, because of the procedure in the House, once the leader had spoken, the speaker would not allow members who are not part of the leadership to speak. But we were on our feet. We're going to ask the Chairman Sambosu to establish before Parliament is a house of records. He should show us evidence of chaos. They should name one toll booth in this country. One, where there was chaos, where people had gotten down to engage in fisticuffs. You are telling me that people got down from their car at a toll booth. I told Chairman Sambosu yesterday in Parliament that he should start writing script for Kumawood. That people got down from their cars, got to a toll booth in Ghana, got down from their cars and said because a finance minister had read the budget. Well, what did the finance minister read in the budget? Let me read verbatim. Page 60
we read that earlier. Yeah.
Page 60 of the budget, paragraph 247, Roman numeral 5V. Zero rate tolls, that is, remove toll charges on all public roads and reassign the current workforce collecting road tolls effective immediately the budget is approved by Parliament, so that they do not become any worse off because of this policy. So how could anybody have heard this and then shown up at the toll booth? And that's why I said it is only from the fertile imagination of our Chairman Sambosu. Even the minister himself would not have come up with this. And let's be clear, when they say they are operationalizing a directive, what exists today as a directive? What exists today as a directive is the Road Toll Amendment Act of 1999. In that law, the operationalization of that law does not give the minister the power to suspend the act. No, without recourse to Parliament. Again, if you read the budget, which has not been approved, and there is no guarantee that this budget will be approved. So that's why even the finance minister, who under the public financial management legislation is minded to say that this can only come into force after Parliament has approved it. So for me, look, those who say the minister has acted correctly, the minister is somebody I have some high regard for. Okay, he's a senior member of the House. But on this one, the minister is wrong. Okay. The earlier he reverses the decision, or the earlier he quickly brings a bill and engages the leadership of the House. Because you see, you still got about 7 weeks to the end of the year.
Yeah. So he should do either of them.
He could do either of them. Okay. First and foremost, issue an apology.
Yes.
Issue an apology. And secondly, take one of two routes. Immediately come before the House with a bill under a certificate of urgency, which the Speaker has indicated he's not averse to. To say that, can we suspend the, I've forgotten what the act number is, but the public road toll amendment, the toll amendment act. Yes. Suspend that act. Parliament will sit on it. We will take it through we will take it through a certificate of urgency, and in less than an hour, it becomes law. Be done. And then his actions can then be legal, or he immediately reverses that decision. And in doing that, we must also be minded about the court laws on causing financial loss to the state. The fact that yesterday road tolls were not collected, today road tolls are not being collected, it is lost to the state.
But Dr. Richard Asante says that, I mean, with what the Speaker said yesterday, he should have invited the minister to the committee to answer some questions instead of directing him to reverse, the decision that he had made.
You see, Bella, the point I will make here, and you see, the MPP must be very minded about one thing. Every time the Speaker gives directives, they try to undermine the authority of the Speaker. That would not have happened if it was an MPP Speaker.
I said it.
It would not have happened. Look, you as a Minister of State, even within the executive structure, you answer to the Chief of Staff, who is not the head of the executive. The Speaker is the head of an equal arm of government.
Said the same thing.
He is the head of an equal arm of government. Would any minister dare vary the decision of a court and say that the Chief Justice should call him?
Or vary the decision of the President.
Or vary the decision of the President.
Okay.
Would any minister dare do that? The minister cannot. Listen.
Was it the resolution of Parliament or a directive
from the speaker.
Okay, now let me.
I want to understand. See,
the speaker makes rulings.
I'll tell you
the
what.
speaker makes
One person at a time, please. Richard, what's your question?
Let me just
what's your question?
I've heard this
my
question.
question to my brother is
I've heard it.
You see, you want a speaker to communicate resolution of parliament after
The speaker gives directives.
Now I want to understand and appreciate. Was this
let me explain
supposed
to
be
Honorable
a
Haruna
resolution
Idrisu.
of parliament?
Honorable Haruna
Or
Idrisu
hearsay and
Richard, hold on, let him
Honorable
respond.
Haruna Idrisu stood on Standing Order 72 of the House and made reference to Standing Order 53. Now, what he did was to make a statement on a pressing national issue. There are two routes for a speaker to give determination in the House. When a bill or a motion is put before the House, when a motion is put before the House, the speaker opens it up for debate. A vote is put, and then the speaker will rule on the vote and give a directive on the basis of a vote. However, when a statement is made, the speaker doesn't open a statement up for debate. He opens the statement up for discussions or for contributions. That's how the standing order. Contributions are made to statements, and when in your statement, you ask for a directive from the speaker doesn't put a vote. So I'll give you a typical example. When the issue of sand winning was very topical in the Ayenswan, is it? No, not in Sawam Edojiri constituency. The Honorable Anodompre made a statement on the floor of the House. This was under Right Honorable Michael Quay, and asked the speaker to make consequential directives on the basis of his statement, which we all contributed to. No vote was put to it. The speaker gave directive setting up a parliamentary committee to investigate the issues of sand winning. When there was a shooting of family heads,
Hold on, Richard.
When there was a shooting of family heads in my constituency, I made a statement on the floor of the House. Again, and I'm using examples under Right Honorable Michael Quay to let you know that this is not new to Parliament. I made a statement and asked the speaker to issue a consequential directive ordering the Minister for Interior and the IGP to report to Parliament on a case that had dragged for 6 months without any arrest of a murder of a chief in my constituency within 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, the speaker gave that, Michael Quay gave that directive that day without putting it into a vote. So Haruna's statement yesterday, in his statement, he asked the speaker to give a directive on the basis of an issue of national discussion. The speaker was not bound to put it to a vote. The speaker was under the laws, the standing of those of the House. The speaker was versed to give a directive and pass a ruling on the statement. The speaker could have said, and if you listen to the speaker was very charitable. The speaker actually tried to explain the indiscretion of the minister and gave him the leeway to say the minister should take steps, because the speaker recognizes the fact that the minister is a senior member of the House, and that is why I believe. I'm sure if it was another minister, and at times this is where people say Parliament we are not fair. If it was another minister who was not a member of Parliament,
Backbencher.
or a backbencher, he would have been dealt with in a different way. But the speaker was very lenient. And so you must be showing gratitude to the speaker for his leniency in giving these opportunities for the minister. Eat the humble pie. Apologize. You got it wrong. It is possible everybody gets it wrong. It's human nature. Apologize and do the right thing.